Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tracing an absolutely awe-inspiring story, the hero's journey of Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam. We're talking about a young kid from a tiny coastal town who grew up to literally launch his country into space, secure its national defenses, and then, just casually go on to win the hearts of over 1 billion people as their president. So let's just jump right in.
Now, I want to kick things off right off the bat with these powerful words from Dr. Kalam himself. Dream is not that which you see while sleeping, it is something that does not let you sleep. This explainer is fundamentally about a guy who turns seemingly impossible dreams into reality. And as we're going to see, he wasn't just dreaming for himself, he was dreaming for an entire nation. This wasn't just, passive wishing. It was that relentless, driving vision that quite literally keeps you awake at night. Section 1. The Boy from Ramaswamy.
So to really understand the man, we've got to look at the incredible environment he grew up in. Picture the 1930s in the coastal town of Ramaswamy. His dad, Jainuddin, was a pious Muslim, an imam at the local mosque, who actually owned a ferry transporting Hindu pilgrims to one of India's holiest temples. And get this, his dad's best friend? Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, the Hindu high priest of that exact same temple. Every single evening, these guys would sit together in their traditional clothes right alongside local Christian leaders, just discussing spiritual matters. It's a beautiful picture of the syncretic, harmonious upbringing that completely shaped Kalam's worldview.
But, life wasn't without some extreme hardships. When World War II broke out in 1939, an 8-year-old Kalam had to step up. He started collecting tamarind seeds, which suddenly saw a massive spike in demand, and sold them to a local provision shop for the princely sum of 1 anna per bay. Plus, because trains actually stopped halting at their station due to wartime emergencies, newspapers were just tossed out of moving trains. So, young Kalam took on the job of catching and bundling those papers. This early hustle really cemented a legendary, tireless work ethic that defined his whole life.
And there's this one specific childhood moment that totally forged his lifelong commitment to secularism. When Kalam was in the 5th standard, a new teacher couldn't stand seeing a Muslim boy sitting next to the Hindu priest's son, right? So he forced Kalam to the back of the class. Well, when the high priest Sastri found out, he was absolutely furious. He summoned the teacher and bluntly told him, either apologize for spreading the poison of social inequality into innocent minds, or quit the school and leave the island. The teacher actually apologized and reformed. That early exposure to standing up for equality shaped exactly who Kalam would become.
Section 2. Failure to spaceflight.
As a young adult, Kalam developed this obsessive ambition. His ultimate dream? To fly. But what happens when you work your entire life for a single goal, only to fall short? Kalam traveled to Dehradun to interview for the Air Force. There were exactly 8 spots available. Kalam placed 9th. Man, he was devastated. The ache in his heart was just profound. Seeking some kind of solace, he visited Swami Shivananda in Rishikesh, who gave him advice that literally changed his trajectory. He said, accept your destiny and go ahead with your life. Search instead for the true purpose of your existence. Kalam essentially had to let go of flying planes to realize he was actually destined to build them.
And build them he absolutely did. Guided by his mentor, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the father of the Indian space program, Kalam's rise was incredibly fast. He trained at NASA in 1963, brought all that knowledge back to India, and literally set up a laboratory in an old cattle shed on the coast of Thumba. I mean, a cattle shed. By 1969, he was at the newly expanded ISRO. And by 1980, after years of grueling effort, he was the project director who successfully launched the SLV-3, placing the Rohini satellite into orbit and officially making India a member of the super-exclusive spacefaring club.
But the path to that 1980 success? It holds one of the greatest lessons in leadership you are ever going to hear. In 1979, the first experimental launch failed catastrophically. It plunged directly into the Bay of Bengal. Kalam was terrified to face the harsh media. But ISRO chairman Satish Dhawan stepped right in front of the cameras, took complete blame for the failure, and publicly expressed his total trust in Kalam's team. A year later, when the 1980 launch succeeded, Dhawan told Kalam to go conduct the press conference himself. So the takeaway here is absolutely crucial. Great leaders absorb the blame during failures, and they give away the credit during successes. It's a total masterclass in trust leadership. Section 3. The Missile Man.
Having totally conquered space launch vehicles, Kalam was called upon to secure his nation's defenses by joining the Defense Research and Development Organization, or DRDO. There, he successfully led the development of indigenous guided missiles, most notably the Agni ballistic missile and the Prithvi tactical missile.
And on top of that, he played a massive role as the chief project coordinator during the 1998 Pokhran II nuclear tests. These tests were a huge turning point, officially making India a nuclear-armed state and totally securing its technological and defensive self-reliance.
But here's the thing, Dr. Kalam was never just about weapons. A really surprising, lesser-known fact is his profound contribution to medicine. By utilizing the lightweight composite materials originally developed for missiles, Kalam actually teamed up with cardiologist Dr. Soma Raju. Together, they invented the Kalam-Raju stent, which dramatically slashed the cost of a heart stent from 55,000 rupees down to just 10,000 rupees. That's roughly $200. Later, they even designed a rugged tablet computer for healthcare workers in remote villages. This just highlights his deep empathy, you know? He was constantly looking for ways that advanced technology could directly serve the common citizen.
Section 4. The People's President.
So, in 2002, Kalam's life took a completely unexpected turn. He was approached to run for the highest office in the land. As a scientist with literally zero political background, he emerged as this incredibly rare consensus candidate across the entire political spectrum. But he didn't take the presidency just to chill in a luxury mansion or be waited on hand and foot. He accepted the role with a very specific mission. As he noted himself, he viewed the presidency purely as a platform to tirelessly promote his Vision 2020, which was a comprehensive roadmap to transform India into a fully developed, economically prosperous, and scientifically advanced nation. 600,000. That is the staggering number of students Dr. Kalam personally met and interacted with by 2005, and that was just midway through his presidency. He completely redefined the office. He threw open the normally forbidding, heavily guarded doors of Rashtrapati Bhavan to the masses, answering emails from school children, and just totally prioritizing the youth. He truly earned the title, the People's President.
Section 5. Igniting Young Minds. After leaving office in 2007, he didn't just retire. He returned to his absolute greatest passion, teaching and empowering the next generation. He traveled relentlessly, championing practical solutions like Pura, providing urban amenities to rural areas. By outlining the need for physical, electronic, and knowledge connectivity in villages, he proved that you don't fight poverty with just charity, right? You fight it with technology, infrastructure, and education. He wanted to bridge that deep urban-rural divide to ensure a fair distribution of resources for every citizen. And honestly, this is perhaps where he connected best with the youth. He used these simple, brilliant acronyms to completely reframe the whole concept of setbacks. If you fail, well, it's just your first attempt in learning. If you hit the end, just remember that effort never dies. And if someone tells you no, it simply means next opportunity. By shifting this perspective, he lifted the fear of failure off the shoulders of millions of young students.
On July 27, 2015, Dr. Kalam's journey finally came to an end. But, it happened in the most poetic way imaginable. He didn't pass away in a hospital bed or a retirement home. He actually suffered a massive cardiac arrest while standing on a stage, chalk in hand, delivering a lecture to students at the Indian Institute of Management in Shillong. His passing perfectly encapsulated his life's mission, to serve, to teach, and to ignite young minds, right up until his very final breath. We're going to end this explainer with a challenge that Dr. Kalam famously issued to the youth he met. He didn't want people to just admire him. He wanted them to take ownership of their own potential. So, considering the unbelievable journey of this young boy from Ramaswaram who literally touched the stars, the question he leaves us with is this: what will you do to leave your footprints on the sands of time? Thank you so much for learning with us today.